Hey, it's me, WWE Hall of Famer from the LOD, Road Warrior Animal. And who are you?
Yeah, I gotta do this when? Now? I'm watching a match. What is now? Now is, oh, now. Yeah, thanks. Hey, this is the Pharaoh from Monte The Pharaoh. I just want to say thank you to our subscribers as we now have hit the 10,000 plateau. Thank you to all our subscribers out there. But I'm going to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged YouTube Monte The Pharaoh member. Yes, that's right, folks. You can check it out. We've got 3 different levels. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. There's all sorts of perks for our members. There is nothing more we enjoy than giving you this program. And to do that, we need your support, and we appreciate your support. This is Jimmy Pharaoh, and don't forget to check out Monte The Pharaoh every Thursday from Indie Music TV and on Cablevision here locally in New York. Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh. Later. Is that good enough for you? Can I finish this? Lesnar's killing him. I'm pissed.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh. Only seen here out of Indie Music TV, out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island. And at the board is the now famous Matty Ice. Matty, how are you, pal?
What up, what up? I'm
Matty,
doing great.
I've been fielding phone calls, bro. What? Everybody's like looking to get Matty Ice as their producer. You look like you got a bright future ahead of you, young man.
Thank you. I really hope so.
Well, wait a minute. They can't have him. No. You stay right here with us. That's that.
How was your trip to Boston, anyway?
What?
It was good. Well, I went to on the South Shore of Massachusetts, and it was I'm blanking out on the town name right now, but it was on the beaches. I was on a beach house.
So you were on the beach?
Yeah.
Did you happen to see any whales like wearing flip-flops or anything like that?
With goatees?
With goatees and flip-flops?
Yeah.
We were
whales,
luckily enough to be on a private beach, so no whales.
Interesting.
Really?
It was blubber-free beach.
Blubber-free.
Very, very interesting. By the way, did you get a chance to visit the Podcasting Hall of Fame in Boston?
No.
It's vacant. It's an empty building.
No.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know that, that is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, how are you, buddy?
I'm just, I'm here. What do you want? 4 o'clock this morning again with the birds. Get up! Boof!
You're like a new Pharaoh.
Yeah, I'm a tired Pharaoh. Well, that's actually good for the show because the delirium is on deluxe.
That's what I'm talking about.
Go on.
Rest in peace to rapper Biz Markie, known for his song "Just a Friend," dies at age 57. The musician born Marcel Theo Hall died with his wife Tara by his side. His rep confirmed his cause of death was not revealed.
Interesting. I've read that he was in a diabetic coma. He definitely suffered from I think it was type 2 diabetes. He's.
Oh, so you do have some kind of.
He's a Long Island man, as we both know. He's from Patchogue. He was born in Harlem, I do believe. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure of that. 57 years old. Had a top 10 hit back in 1989, which went platinum with Just a Friend, as you mentioned. It's hard to believe.
Baby,
Don't.
You got what I need.
The first time I heard that,
She says she's just a friend.
I thought that my cat had been hit by a car.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like my singing?
But what that? Well, that wasn't too bad.
It wasn't bad, right?
Actually, wasn't too bad. No, I mean, I remember the
Did you ever
first
have
time.
sex that song?
No, you did the wild thing to that.
Absolutely. You could rock it with that song.
You didn't sing it while you were doing it, did you?
Absolutely.
And she stayed in the room.
And she said,
She didn't leave you immediately.
and I'm just a friend.
She didn't call Kings Park Psych Center to have you taken away. That's very...
She might have.
Biz Monte performs...
Biz Monte.
You're just your friend. That's great, Mike. That's great. You know, well, not for nothing, though. Rest in peace, because this was a Long Island guy, and he definitely made his mark in this business.
Absolutely. Rest in peace, Biz
Definitely.
Markie. Another legend lost.
Yep.
Not this time. Not a wrestling legend, but a musician.
Music
He
and
did leave
wrestling,
his mark.
unfortunately, seem to have alarming similarities when it comes to mortality rates. What else you got?
We want to
for me?
thank everybody out there in YouTube land and Facebook land and Twitch land and everywhere land. Thank you guys for joining us today. We always appreciate you guys sharing your Thursdays at 9 p.m. with us. Coming from New York, a hero NYPD cop describes how he saved stabbed victim's life with potato chip bag.
With what?
Quote, I just needed something squared off at the edges.
Wait a minute. Is this did the officer actually say this? Because this is funny.
Yes, he did.
Squared off at the edges. So was it? What brand was it?
I think it was.
Squared
It could have
off
been
at
Lay's.
Lay's? Well, nobody could, resist more than
But the important part,
What?
that's my nephew.
Get out of here.
The hero
Wait a
cop
second. This
is my nephew.
Wait a second. This was on the cover of a major New York newspaper.
A couple of them, right?
This
Absolutely.
This is your nephew.
We're very proud of him and the family.
How did he do it, though?
Ronald Kennedy Jr., my man.
I'm
proud to be your uncle, brother.
Absolutely, I would be too. How did he do it, though? I mean, how did he do it?
He had EMT training.
Okay.
This young man was stabbed on the streets of the Bronx, I believe it was. And
Drug deal gone bad, I'm assuming?
Drug deal gone bad,
Harlem.
yes, sir.
It was in Harlem, I believe, from
yes.
the article I saw. Go on.
Sexy Granny, thank you. Best show on YouTube. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
those comments.
Sexy Granny.
Sexy
Awesome.
Granny. Nothing better than a sexy granny.
Like, I'm going to argue with facts? Sexy Granny.
Might need a potato chip bag for sexy granny. Anyway,
Utz or Lay's?
so he put the potato chip bag in. He got some. What is wrong with you?
A lot. Do we have an hour?
So he covered the wound, and
Yeah.
he saved this young man's life. So
That is-
kudos to the
my
man in
Lord.
blue.
Wow, that is
802, thank you again. We really appreciate those kind
802.
comments, man.
802.
Oh, look at Dank. What, your nephew? That's a world news. Congrats. I bet the apple don't fall far from the tree. My friend Dank, I appreciate that, but I was never a hero like that. My nephew has bypassed me at half my age, and I have nothing but respect for the police that protect and serve our country.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't be prouder. I couldn't be prouder as an uncle.
It's amazing. I mean, what was it like speaking to him about this? I mean, how do you even, way to go there, kiddo? I mean, this is amazing what he did.
It's just,
That's incredible.
I don't.
Incredible. Salute.
Pro wrestling was hot this week, my friend. Charlotte Rhea tore the house down at Money in the Bank. Thought process on that, my friend.
Well, I think that you pointed out to me, and I completely agree with it. At the beginning, was things a little rough for Charlotte with the crowd interaction? And what happened, Mr. Monty?
She gave him the finger.
Wow.
And she gave him a crotch shot.
And
the queen.
The match completely changed course. See, folks, that's why all these weeks, all these years now, we have been telling anybody who will listen that Charlotte Flair is the greatest wrestler in the world when it comes to women. You know what? And when it comes to men, she's better than most of them.
I agree,
if
sir.
If not a very small percentage left over to even contend with her greatness, okay? She knew exactly what she was doing there. She got the crowd completely turned around. And by the end, what was the chant? Those three words. This is awesome.
That's it, brother.
Here it is again. Charlotte Flair is amazing.
Phil, thank you.
Amazing.
Very resourceful in a crisis situation. Good stuff. Yes, sir, it was. There's nothing harder than reacting during a very emotional, scary time.
I'm blown away by that.
We got what we wanted.
Yeah.
Money in the Bank. The return of John Cena.
Oh, yeah. How great. How absolute. John Cena Jr.
Jr.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Oh, could you imagine John Cena Sr. coming out?
No. No. Because then all of a sudden I'm canceling my membership to Peacock.
And I no longer watch wrestling. I basically just watch those Godzilla movies you make fun of me for.
We'll get to John Cena Sr. in a minute, but anyway.
Wow, you almost said his name right.
Almost.
Well, almost don't count.
By the way, everybody out there, let's do a little personal test at home, and we're going to test our producer a little bit. If you can say John Cena Sr. 5 times fast without tripping over, you win.
Also, for you creative folks at home, because I know the audience is right there with me on this one, I would like you to try the typing test. How many times and how fast can you go, John Cena Sr., John Cena Sr., John Cena? Go ahead, try it. So it's called finger, it's called finger tongue twisting, and we'd like to hear from you as how went it home for you. Were you able to do it? Because I can't do the verbal. Let's see if we can do the fingers too. So let's have fun at home.
So John Cena Jr. comes out.
What's wrong with us?
To a pop. So what's wrong with you? I never look.
That was
I
a
always,
great pop.
I
That was
always,
awesome.
I
John
always have
Cena's
been a
back.
huge fan of John Cena.
Yes, you have.
And I got to tell you, I just marked out.
I marked
flipping
out.
How great is
And
that?
I'm not a big fan of at all. Well, I can't even call myself a fan of John Cena, but I know what he means, and I'm always interested when he comes on my television set, or nowadays my phone.
So explain to me this, right?
Yeah.
I don't really know John Cena Sr. Due to recent activity in
he's
the
a
last
Cena
couple
citizen,
of weeks,
by the way.
I've seen John Cena Sr.
Yeah.
on Big Fat Whale's show. Okay. And this guy is the most uninteresting man in the world.
I already fell asleep. What else you got
So
for me?
but I ask you this question: as much as I love John Sr. Jr., how could he even be related to that slug John Sr. Cena Sr.?
Well,
Please explain to me, Farrell. Drop some wisdom on me.
I don't know if I can. Apparently, he swam the fastest, and there he was.
Babe Ruth says John Cena Toupee Senior. That is the worst rat rug I've ever seen. Your son makes millions and millions and millions of dollars. Could he at least buy you a decent rug?
It's rough.
Could you?
It's rough.
Like, just go,
It's
look,
rough.
Junior, can you just get me a rug? Can you buy me something from Men's Hair Now? Something that looks real?
And that Mr. Rogers sweater has to go. It's got to go.
Wait, so back to the
I
question.
mean, he comes in and he takes his shoes off. Would you be mine? Could you? What's going on here? I'm not interested in this. And by the way, this is really this is what's really messed up. I wanted to know more about John Cena Sr. Hey, I said it once, really slow.
Henry 407 says Big Fat Whale Show, LOL. I'm sorry, that's kind of mean.
Wait a second. First of all, I want to let you know that I went
Big
to the
Fat Whale with slippers.
Hold on, I went to the Carvel website and finally, Fudgy the Whale is going to have a brother, Pudgy the Whale, and he's got a goatee, and he can almost smell the body odor coming off of a cake. How original is that? I mean, scratch and sniff. This is more like scratch and die. I mean, who the hell would want Pudgy the Whale? Oi,
So
and
wait a
the
minute.
worst part is, when you're reading the box, it's just like an intro. You get so confused, you don't even know if it's a fucking cake. It's like, what am I looking at? And then on the back, back is a photo of John Cena Sr.
Wait a minute, on the cake it says, keep the pro wrestlers working, donate to my channel.
Right. This cake is brought to you by your money coming to me.
That's right.
That's what it's brought to you by. And next week...
And maybe I'll slip them some drugs so the cake stumbles over their words.
Well, I've heard that there's money being saved up to get in. I know this sounds strange, but Kalisto's great-grandmother is a regular guest. Every
You know what
week.
would be more
Don't
interesting?
you want to hear from her, the great-grandmother
Honestly,
of Kalisto?
I would tune in to Fudgy's. That's his new name, Fudgy the Well.
Pudgy.
We'll tune into
It's
Fudgy's
Pudgy.
show, Pudgy
Anyway.
the Well.
Yeah, Pudgy. Well, it could be
Why
both.
doesn't Senior,
Interchangeable
instead of
names.
Senior sitting in his chair boring everybody, why does he just put his wig in the chair and Pudgy the Well interviews the wig?
That's a great idea, but I was thinking if you really wanted to be as exciting as what it's like to be talking to the great John Cena Sr.
Wait, real quick.
Wait.
Can you say it 5 times fast? Let's hear it.
No.
Try it.
Oh, God. I'm going to take the challenge first.
The John
Me.
Cena Sr. challenge.
All right, here we go. John Cena Sr. John Cena Sr. I can't.
It's
I
over.
already failed. Anyway, back to my point. To get it as interesting as having a polarizing guest such as this Cena citizen, we could always have him just watch a chia pet grow its hair. Like, put a chia pet in the interview chair and just
Right.
watch it grow its hair.
Just
You know how
grow.
long that takes? You know, but It's about the same.
Do you think John Cena
paint
Jr.
drying?
is embarrassed that his father's John Cena Sr.?
Do I think he's...
Yeah, Dad, stay
all right.
away.
That's a possibility. I think that it's almost like... No. But, I think that it might be a similar situation to the prodigy who's been drafted by the Jets, Zach Wilson. He's basically giving his mom money to go away at this point. Please stop. Stop. You're embarrassing me. Stop. No, I want to go on with that terrible podcast. Dad, please don't. Please. I'm going to do it.
Oh, no, I'm actually a big fan of John Cena Sr.
Don Cena?
Whatever.
Senior? I didn't realize John's now a Don. Wow, we better watch what we say. He's a Don.
Dude, honestly.
What?
Is he the most boring guy in the world? Does he match the title of this show?
He is the most uninteresting guy in the world. Yes, he matches the commercial. Yeah, pretty much. I'm already bored to death. Why are we doing this to ourselves? What's wrong with us? Back to what's wrong with us. Why would we do this?
Because Pudgy the Whale
that kick
just
sucks.
doesn't stop.
Yeah, well, early bird gets the... What? Sorry.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. Pretty much.
Tune in. I would like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monte The Pharaoh, our own Jimmy Farrow, along with his partner, Bart Gray.
Ta-da! Bartman!
Are part of the band, Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. And our theme song, Riding High. You can find their music of Wisteria Hall on their YouTube page. Please go to their YouTube page, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and go to Spotify, Apple Tunes, and Reverb Nation, our Apple Music. If you didn't notice, you are watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestler and broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen here on the Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page, the Monte The Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, the Monte and the Pharaoh page. Channel. Go ahead.
I just realized something. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Can't believe you're interrupting my monologue.
I have to. I just have to. Wait a minute. Everything's wrong here. I'm the only one who took the John Cena Sr. challenge.
You did?
You do it. Wait a minute.
All right.
Hold
I'm
on.
going to try.
Hold on.
I'll try.
Matty Ice, our illustrious producer, Matty Ice.
Yes.
Matty, I am asking you to take the John Cena Sr. challenge. Go, brother. Go.
John Cena Sr., John Cena Sr., John Cena Sr., John Cena Sr., John Cena Sr.
That wasn't bad,
It wasn't bad.
Good job, Matt. Not bad.
I'll try it.
He almost pulled it off.
I'll try it.
Oh, God, no.
You ready?
Drum roll.
John Dan Maratti's Big Fat Pig. 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 Dan Maratti's Big Fat Pig.
Ooh, I'm telling. I'm reporting.
How was that? Was that good?
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was good. I understood.
Watch Monte The Pharaoh from New York, channel 115 every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30, and for early risers on channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30, and for the late people on channel 20 from 2 a.m. to 2:30, where you will see our special guest who will be appearing after our commercial break.
Yes.
The owner.
Yes.
Of the rebooted
Yes.
Championship Wrestling from Florida, Jeffrey Weaver. I wonder what Jeffrey's going to think about us after this opening monologue.
Wait till Jeff gets a load of us. He loves us.
Do you think Jeffrey Weaver will have John Cena Sr. on his wrestling show?
He's much too bright for that. Don't you insult him.
Do you think he'll at least use John Cena? You know what? I have a great idea for Jeffrey. I'm going to present it to him.
Okay.
He'll have a tournament, and the winner gets to wear John Cena Sr.'s wig.
And sweater.
How great would that be? And the winner of this tournament.
But what if the
I'll buy tickets to
What if
that.
the rug is stinky and he never washes it?
He looks like he doesn't wash it. Anyway, we'll be back after this commercial break with the owner of Championship Wrestling from Florida, Jeffrey Weaver.
You can't see me. See you in a sec.
Hi, it's Josh from Under the Table Hot Sauce. I'm here with my friend, the star of the show, Jimmy Farrow.
Yeah, what's up, JB?
Nah, nothing.
It's been a hot summer, and for all your barbecue needs, you can go to underthetablehotsauce.com. 13 unique flavors to choose from, created and bottled in a Long Island kitchen. Underthetablehotsauce.com. Let's go chow, JB.
Let's do it.
All the flavor, twice the burn. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, only seen here out of Indie Music TV. We'll be introducing our special guest in 1 second. I just want to read a few comments out there. Henry 407 says, come down to John Cena Sr.'s used cars in Roswell, New Jersey, and go get yourself a car. If you buy a car, you get a free toupee. Also, toupee for sale, Craigslist, call John Cena Sr. Want to welcome our special guest, Jeffrey Weaver. How are you, sir? Thank you for joining Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for having me on.
You are most welcome.
We're very sorry you had to sit through that monologue.
Poor man.
I'll tell you what. It was the best on hold I've ever had.
So what do you think about my idea of possibly having a tournament and the winner winning John Cena Sr.'s wig? Is that possible?
Oh, God.
Or wait, Jeff,
In Florida, I don't know.
what if we put it on a pole, the wig?
A wig on a pole match?
Yeah, what if we did that? Jeff, do you think that would get over?
I don't know.
Jeff's taking the high road, man. You never know.
Well, actually, he's not only is he taking the high road, he's seriously contemplating these things. He's thinking about them for the future.
By the way, Monte The Pharaoh just signed a new sponsor, John Cena Sr.'s Used Cars. So he'll be sponsoring our show next week. So congratulations. All right, let's get serious.
Oh, dear
Jeff,
Lord, help me.
Really, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And by the way, Matt, you got Jeff's name wrong. You got Jeff Beaver.
He does not.
Boy, oh boy, this is out of control.
Matt?
Yeah.
Fix that B. Oh, my.
All right, let's get serious. I can't tell you how.
Right,
Oh,
I can't tell you how we're excited to have you on, man.
Yes,
Really,
yes,
please.
yes.
All right, Pharaoh, have at it, my friend.
I'm a longtime fan of your show. You guys are awesome. The thanks is all to you guys for having me on, really. Thank you all both.
Thank you.
First of all, before we begin all of this, I got to say a massive thank you for keeping the torch burning for one of my absolute favorites growing up from childhood, Florida Championship Wrestling, the original greats, the Gordon Solys, et cetera, et cetera. I grew up with this stuff. Mike Graham, Dusty Rhodes, Kevin Sullivan, of course, by Bugsy McGraw, as I spoke to Jeff before we got on the air. Guys like Mr. Florida, Sir Oliver Humperdinck, the Funks came to. It just goes on and on and on. What makes you bring this product back home to the fans once again?
Well, I'm a guy that grew up my whole life watching championship wrestling from Florida and Gordon Soley and all the gentlemen that you so graciously mentioned. And the state hasn't been the same. The sport hasn't been the same without it. And it's been dormant for how many years? 20 some odd years. And nobody took interest in it. Vince almost did when he had Florida Championship Wrestling, but then he gave that up for the NXT idea, which is, that's his business. But I live here in this state, and this particular company meant the world to me. And the fact that nobody cared enough to even try to revive it was appalling to me. So I started doing some research, and things started working out and kind of just landed in my lap. And now I'm on your show talking about it. So it's been a pretty wild ride over the last 16 months. Just an absolutely wild ride, man. I've had a lot of life changes that I've had to make. I ended up hurting myself. At my shoot job, I was a roofer, and I ended up falling 14 feet off of a roof and breaking my back in 3 places. That downtime was what allotted me the time to do the research to get CWF off the ground again. So I mean, it was kind of, it was an awful thing. It was a tragedy, and it was kind of a godsend, all wrapped up in 2 big operations. So
how difficult was it getting it off the ground? Did you have moments of doubt? Did you face challenges that you thought to yourself, boy, oh boy, this is a big undertaking. Can I pull this off?
Well, I did think that because of how important it was to me. the part that I underestimated was how important it was to a lot of other people, namely some of the guys that made CWF what it was. So when I pitched the idea to them, and I won't say his name, but you know who he is, I mentioned it to him, and a tear rolled out of his eye. And this is a 65-year-old man, that's a man's man. He's, former heavyweight champion. He's worked all the biggest promotions in the world. And I said one sentence to this man, and a tear rolled down his cheek.
Wow.
I knew then that I was onto something, and that if I did it, it had to be done correctly. So I seen what I had to do from a legal standpoint, because there are certain trademarks that are owned by Vince that are similar to the one that I purchased for CWF.
Sure.
I definitely didn't want to start funneling money into this project and then end up in litigation with Vince. Mm-hmm. What I'm doing isn't a threat to Vince. He's he's the best at doing this. So if anything, I'm using his philosophies on a smaller scale, because I don't have the bankroll that Vince has. So I can't just do things the way he got to do things when he started WWF, when he bought it from his dad. So, but I've taken some of those philosophies that made his business work for him, and I tried to apply those to our business here, and so far it seems to be working.
How consistent, for the fan who views your product that recalls those old days, how consistent has your planning been as far as the product itself, the presentation? Does it lean more towards the sport of wrestling? Does it have some of Vince's entertainment aspects also in there, since you said that you're adapting some of Vince's philosophies?
Well, Vince's is a lot more theatrical, I'll say.
Sure.
I'm not saying it's bad.
No.
It's just a little more theatrical version of what made me, fall in love with this sport. So I'm trying to recapture and rekindle the traits that made me fall in love with it, and also keep in the back of my mind that this business is constantly evolving. You can't just have, old school style matches. You have to have dudes that can fly. You have to have things that the other style wrestling fans also want to see. So you're not excluding anyone.
So, Jeff, are you going to try to recapture the old Florida Championship Wrestling feel, like with a Gordon Soley type of announcer? There's already comments about Purple Haze, right? Mark Lewin back in the day coming out of the ocean. Are we looking at maybe kind of a rebirth with some of these characters, or are you going a totally different way?
No, I feel like it's most important for our mission to absolutely show what the guys before us that laid this road for us to walk down now. We have to show the homage for those guys, or we'll just be some young guys who bought the name and are trying to ride off of yesterday's accomplishments. That's not at all what we're trying to do. But somewhere along the lines, yesterday's accomplishments that these great men that paved CWF, they've been kind of forgotten about and pushed away. And I just want to dust that off and show it to the world again. There's still story there that people want to hear, and guys that people want to see, even if it's not in a match capacity.
What became of the independent scene during those 20 years you spoke of? Because you obviously, I'm assuming you still were interested in attending wrestling, watching wrestling. To the fan who lives in New York, sure, we know about NXT. We know about FCW before it became NXT. But what was the independent scene like during those 20 years, and how frustrating was that for you leading up to your decision to do this?
To be quite frank, man, the system has been broken the entire time I've been involved in it. I made more money the first year out of wrestling school than I did my last year on the roster. Wow. And that's sad.
Wow.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That shows you right there how broken it is. And it's because there's an oversaturation of professional wrestling in this state. And there's an absolute lack of guys willing to work together, whether it be egos or whatever. I'm trying to break that mold. I'm working with other companies like Fighting for a Cure. I'm helping them. I just got them a venue, and I'm doing what I can do to help the owner of that. His name's Joe Abel. He's been, one of my mentors in this business for 15 years. He was my personal manager for 10 of those years. And, we kind of drifted apart. He stayed, he ventured to doing the charity end of things, and I stayed trying to actually make a living doing this. And, we'd be on some of the same shows together, but he needed help this year. He had some, health problems, and I have a lot of free time. So I donated some of my belongings to help him, and I'm donating some of my time and helping him promote his show. So, if I do this, and then, the next company comes along and they have a decent product with a good business plan, and they need a little push in the right direction, and maybe me or one of my guys on my team will have that. Maybe we can start breaking this, mold that the indie scene in Florida has become.
You said something very interesting about. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, nobody's tried to fix it in the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. All they have done is just add more bullshit that makes it bad. So it's about time people start seeing this and making a concerted effort if they really love this business like they say they do.
You mentioned something very interesting about that there's an excess of professional wrestling in the state of Florida, and I completely understand that, because it feels like on a lot of these rosters they have 8 pounds of shit in a 2-pound bag. What is your challenge as far as assembling your roster? Do you have a cutoff point in your mind, a number? Okay, this is too many wrestlers. How difficult is it for you to assemble a roster where you can effectively book and push everybody in the way you want to without having an excess number of wrestlers? How difficult is that?
Well, I'm not, going to try to hire every talent that has a glimpse of something special. I can't do that. Mm-hmm. I've been on this scene for 20 years, mm-hmm. and I've seen and worked with the best of the best, at least as far as the guys in this state. So these are pretty much the guys that I've assembled, and they've gotten behind me, just mm-hmm. like I've gotten behind them in their careers and their personal lives. I got guys like Eddie Torres. He's the authority, man. That's not just a gimmick, man. That dude's for real. He's no joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. You're talking about a 250-pound man that just don't play games, and that's what Florida needs to be seen with. You got guys like David Mercury, who, Jesus, man, if you can find a more technically based wrestler, I would be astounded. Mercury is, leaps and bounds above most of the guys you see, even on television these days. And he's not signed. And I don't understand that. The dude is an absolute delight to work with backstage. So why wouldn't you put him on your roster? He's knowledgeable. He knows everyone. You can't fool the guy. He's partners with Jay Lethal in their wrestling school, the Wrestling Lab, along with Big Connor from Ascension. Mm-hmm. And man, let me tell you, just to show you the level of training that these men are providing these young students, there's a guy on my roster. His name is Damon. He wrestled Romeo Quevedo. The kid is, I say kid, I shouldn't call him that. This man filled in for me because somebody couldn't make it to the show, and David put him in. And I'll tell you what, after the show, I asked David, whenever we're going through booking, make sure you got this man on. This kid is the future of the business in this state. We need more guys like him. And if all the guys you're training end up at the level that this man is, then we're going to be able to do this.
What is it like for you when you see how training wrestlers has become almost anybody can do it? Almost anybody can become a wrestler and wind up wrestling at the local high school at the very least for a card. Does this concern you? Obviously, this must piss you off. Your thoughts on what training wrestlers has become?
It's bad, man. There's the ability to buy a ring nowadays is quite easy. Where, back in the older days, you had to know either how to make one or you had you had to know who was actually selling the things back in the day. Mm-hmm. They didn't have internet to make it easy. You had to actually know somebody. Mm-hmm. nowadays the internet has absolutely destroyed, kayfabe. So there's all fans are smart fans nowadays.
Right.
They can just get right on Google and find out anything about anyone, what their real name is, what they did for a job before they worked for WWE or TNA or AEW or SWE Fury or whoever. It doesn't matter. It's so easy. There's nothing hard about it anymore. You can just go to monster.com and buy a ring, or you can go to highspots.com and buy a ring, and that's what these guys are doing.
Yeah, it's coming in the mail next week, Mike, by the way.
What's that?
The ring. I ordered one.
You ordered one?
Yeah. You know how
Where are we going to put it?
Well, we used to pound each other in the backyard when we were kids. I figured I'd
I'm
put it
a
in your
little
own
too old for
backyard.
Jeffrey,
They're taking out the swimming pool, by
are
the
you
way.
happy that AEW and the WWE are going back on the road with, I understand probably you didn't have with COVID and everything, but Florida was open for a little bit. Was that affecting your business? Are you happy they're on the road now?
Oh yeah, definitely. If they're on the road and they're drawing large crowds, they're going to take any attention that any smaller companies like myself would gather. They're the guys, you know what I mean? We all follow what they do. It's just the way it is. he has the money for the television show weekly, so people can just hop right on their local cable channel and turn it on.
That's it. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, Jeffrey, and then I want to come back and we want to ask you about you personally, how you got into wrestling so fans could learn and know the owner of the new CWF.
Nice. Not a problem. Thank you very much.
We'll be right back.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah. And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler and broadcast, Monte the Pharaoh, seen here on Thursdays from 9 to 10 p.m. out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island. And we have the honor to be speaking with the owner of CWF, that's Championship Wrestling from Florida. I like to call it a reboot because we loved how much we love Florida Championship Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jeffrey, coming out of the break, can you tell the fans a little bit about yourself and how you got into wrestling and your love for wrestling?
Kind of a long, boring story, but sure.
Just add some ring rats.
local-
Add some ring rats to the story. It'll always make it better.
There was a local company that ran in my town, and you would every once in a while see they had road signs, like the plastic road signs or whatever. Every month or two, you'd see these road signs. Well, my boys, I have two sons, and they went through a little phase where they were getting bad grades, so I didn't take them anywhere, and I guess these boys knew that their report cards were going to be a little bit better this month. And we're driving down the road past the mall in our area, and there was one of those road signs for a wrestling show. And my son said, "Hey, Dad, will you take us to the wrestling show?" I said, "Well, your report card will be here Friday, right?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, that sign said the show was on Saturday. Your report cards are good. We'll go over here to the JP Igloo and we'll get some tickets." Well, Friday, my boys came running in, happy as could be. They got, no F's or no D's, anything like that on the report card. I got good report cards. "Dad, you said you'd go buy wrestling tickets." I said, "All right, get in the truck. We'll go down." We drove down to the ice skating igloo, or the ice skating Ellington Ice Arena, and we stood in line. We bought some tickets and went back home. Saturday was the show, so my boys, I was raised by a military man, so I can't be late to anything. It's just in my nature. I can't do it. I'm always 20, 30 minutes early for everything. Sure. And this day was no different. We got there about 20, 30 minutes early, and there was nobody. The doors were locked. You could see through a little window. There was a ring and all set up and a stage and, all that. And we're just standing there by the door waiting for them to open it up, and the wrestlers started coming. And, I'm 6'5". I'm a natural 250, 260 pounds, depending on, what my diet lately has been. Damn. Yeah, so I'm much larger than most people. I'm large for an average large, right? I'm not a giant, but I'm definitely above average. In,
big
my
dad,
height and
big
size.
dad, big dude. Go on.
Yeah. So we're standing there at the door, and all the wrestlers started walking by, and I seen the look on my son's faces. I think they're about 9 or 10 at the time, and I noticed that I'm bigger than all the guys coming into the show. So we watched a show, and it was a show ran by a guy named Joe Pipitone Jr., and it was called Fighting Spirit Pro Wrestling. And I tell you what, he brought Midian in, and Midian had just came off of his WWE contract or whatever, so everybody knew who he was, and there was probably 600 or 700 people in this room.
Nice.
It was my first independent show that I'd actually been to, besides Championship Wrestling or Suncoast Wrestling from back in the day, which was a lot bigger production. But this was just a small little deal, and like I said, 500, 600, 700 people, which it's pretty respectable even nowadays.
When you gave me that number right away, I'm thinking to myself, that's a nice turnout. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Little Pip Jr., he never played around. He knew how to get asses in seats, buddy. And we watched the show, and I seen some amazing things on this show. And afterwards, my sons were like, Dad, you're bigger than every guy here. And I said, yeah, you noticed that, huh? I'm smiling, He says, why don't you find out if you can wrestle for these guys? You know how to wrestle. You can wrestle these guys. And I hadn't been to a day of training at this point, not one single day. So I started asking around. I see somebody's, sweeping stuff up. I was like, excuse me, who owns this show? And they said, oh, that little short guy over there, Joe. Joe's a really, really, really short little Italian guy. And so I walk over. I'm like, hello, Mr. Joe. Don't mean to bother you. I see you're busy here, but I'd like to be a part of your show. I mean, if you need somebody to break down the rings or sweep up afterwards or whatever, let me know. I'd like to be a part of this somehow. And he says, hold on. We walk over, and he writes down his phone number and his address, and he asks me, he's like, what are you doing tomorrow? I says, working, but I should be off around 3 or so. He's like, all right, fine. Meet me at my house at 5. He gave me the address. Well, I finished up my job. I owned a tile flooring business at the time. And I finished up my job real nice and early, and I shot over there. And he knocked on his front door. He said, well, just follow me. And we walked through his side gate, and he has the ring set up in his backyard. And he says, and I just look at him. He says, you want to be a part of the show, right? And I says, well, some kind of part of the show. He says, look at the size of you, kid. Get the hell in that ring. So
wow.
He got me in there, and he starts, showing me the basics and stuff. Gets me to, finally in the first day where I'm starting to take some back bumps. Didn't tell me to tuck my chin. And I hit my head on the mat probably 7 or 8 times, and I got a really nice concussion the very first day of training. God. Which was quite, tragic. I was going to Tennessee for a family vacation for 2 weeks. And as soon as I got into those mountains, I'm used to Florida, everything's flat down here. When I got in those mountains, buddy, that concussion multiplied.
Wow.
And it literally hurt so bad that I was sick for the entire 2-week vacation laid in bed.
You felt like your skull was probably going to explode.
Yeah, it literally did, man. It was the worst feeling I ever had.
Holy climate change, Batman. Oy. Wow.
So, Jeff, tell us about some of the wrestlers on your roster. We're going to show some pictures to the fans so they become familiar. Just, run through them. Tell us about them a little bit.
All right. Well, we have we have. I didn't know if you were going to show a picture or somehow to answer the two, or
no, just talk about them. We're just going to flash some pictures. We want to get the fans familiar with your product.
This is Wolf Taylor, the Deadbeat. He is a Florida-born, Florida-raised professional wrestler from Daytona, Florida. Very good wrestler. Joey Osborne. This is an English wrestler. One of the most technical wrestlers you will find anywhere. Just had a wonderful match with David Mercury. The Jake of all trades, Jake St. Patrick. This guy is truly amazing. This is the first show that he worked for me, and the first time I've worked with him, period. I've seen him a lot over the scene. We were just in different shows at the times. But I tell you what, I'd like to work with this man a lot more in the future. He is an absolute delight to deal with.
Jeff, what is the it factor for you when you're looking for a wrestler? I know that it varies depending on the wrestler, but what do you look for first?
Well, I don't concern myself with that. I like I told you, I assembled a team, and we all have our strong points, right? Mm-hmm. Eddie Torres is not just the authority in the ring, he's also the authority out of the ring, and he's the one that protects the integrity of championship wrestling from Florida.
Gotcha.
If you can get past Eddie, then you can get on my roster.
Interesting. He's the locker room leader.
Oh, he's the man. Well, him and David Mercury both. Okay. I mean, they run the whole backstage themselves. They're no joke, man.
Who are
you
rapping?
Real deal.
Who are you wrapping your organization around? Who's your star of your organization?
Who's your Roman Reigns, brother?
Well, man, I tell you, for me, if I was solely the guy, which I'm not, but if I was solely the guy to pick that, I would always want to hang that mantle on Eddie or David. They're the guys that have really made a mark in this business, especially this state. They're the guys with the credentials, man. They're the ones.
What sort of plan do you have to get that product out as much as possible when it comes to media? Because nowadays, of course, we've got so many options with the internet. Do you have a particular plan of attack to get as much exposure as possible? I mean, what do you do first? What's your goals?
Yeah, that's a very good question and a hard one. I've helped with a lot of promotions over the years, and I learned the backstage portion from some very good people like Hal Jeffries. He's been a mentor of mine for years. The guy worked for WWE for 20 years, I think. He worked for the Mutiny. He worked for the Bucks. He's worked for large organizations, and he's been a sponsor man for both of all those companies. So naturally, when I started putting something like this together, I knew we were going to need sponsors, but that's not really my strong suit. I'm good at talking to people, but I don't know the ins and outs of sponsors and sponsorships, and that's where Hal comes in. So that's kind of the way we're doing that. A lot of promotions, you see the owner, they try to be the owner, the booker, the matchmaker, the sponsor guy, the dude dropping flyers off everywhere. They try to hold every job themselves, and what happens is they do every one of those jobs half-assed. And I've worked for a lot of companies that did this, and I'd like to think that I learned, from seeing things over and over, especially things like that over the years, to just not do that. I mean, how are we going to get this product out to the people? We're going to promote it. And if I'm trying to be the booker and the matchmaker and the sponsor guy, I'm not going to have time to do my job of booking, or my job of promoting. So we're going to go at this a little different angle than every other company you see around here.
So it's safe to say we will not be seeing you with the World Heavyweight title around your waist, a la Vince Russo. Good,
never.
Good, very good.
Never.
Oh, thank goodness.
I refuse to even book myself in a managerial position because I've managed a lot of guys over the years as well.
Interesting.
And I still have them trying to book me on their shows, and I told them, no, man, the entertainment days for me is over. I got 18 inches of corrective surgery at my back right now with full of metal rods and pins and crap.
Yeah.
So taking a bump it's over. The in-ring days for me are over.
Understood.
Jeff, fan smartphone out there is naming a few people: Eddie Graham, Mike Graham, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, the Briscoes, the Funks, the Michael Hayes, the Freebirds, Kevin Sullivan, Purple Haze,
Nice.
Woman.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, being a wrestling fan from Florida, who of that group was the most influential on you?
It was all of them. It wasn't one guy or one character. It was all of them. You know, I didn't grow up with a father in my house. You know, I was raised by my grandparents. You know, so I didn't have that. I mean, I had my grandfather, who was a great role model and probably the greatest man I've ever known in my life. But he was a very hardworking man, and he was gone a lot working. You know, so when I wanted to learn how to act like a man, I had television, and I didn't want to watch anything but wrestling. You know, we had VHS tapes back in the day, VCR tapes.
Oh, yeah.
And I would record.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, I would record every show, and I would sit there and turn it off when the commercials came on and turn it back on as soon as the commercials went off. And I have mountains of VCR tapes. And that's what I would do. You know, I liked video games a little bit, but I loved wrestling more.
Did those
tapes
tapes survive? Did those VHS tapes survive? Do you still have those?
I do not have those, but my mother has some of those.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know how many she has, and I probably should find out.
Yeah, and not for nothing, since you can get a wrestling ring on the internet, you can get a VCR too.
Jeff, Maria Davis out there is asking, do you have any wrestlers for the tag team division?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Who you got? Who you got?
We have State Line, which is Eddie Torres and Damian Angel. You know, they've been the team to reckon with in this state for the last 20 years, and they're still that way. We have the Metro Brothers. These guys are phenomenal. And we have more guys coming in. I don't really want to release too many of those names yet because the ink hasn't hit the paper, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
So, but there are more teams, and we are going to be bringing more down from other states as well.
You know, speaking of someone in your organization, friend of the show, the great Andrew Anderson, star the wrestler and Gotham and so many things. Can you tell us a little bit about Andrew and what he means to your organization?
Man, he's the star of our hearts. I tell you, the guy, I met him in April. Met him in April at a convention in Tampa. I'd seen him, you know, on Facebook or whatever a lot of times. We have a lot of friends in common. So whenever he makes a post, I comment on a post, we get to see each other's stuff. But I'd never had the pleasure of actually meeting the man. Well, the CWF table was set up just behind Kevin Sullivan and Andrew's table. And, you know, I walked over to see my friend Joe, who was my friend Joe Abel, who had his table right on the other side of Kevin. So Kevin was in between us. And I walked around Kevin's table to say hi to my friend Joe and Mark Boswell there, because I hadn't seen either one of them in years. And as I was walking back, Kevin says, "Hey, sir, what's that mean on your shirt right there?" I said, "What do those three letters stand for, or what does it mean to me?" And he says, "What's it mean to you?" I said, what it means to me is the greatest childhood a person could have ever had. You know, my grandmother was a huge wrestling fan. She loved Dusty Rhodes. She introduced me to championship wrestling from Florida, and that's when I fell in love with the heel. I didn't know, I'd never seen a heel. I always played baseball or football as a kid growing up. There was no pro wrestling schools for kids. So, you know, that wasn't an option. But the persona that the heel came out with just didn't care what anybody thought. It just resonated to me. Then I seen who Kevin Sullivan was. And I watched him for years, and he was probably, if not the greatest heel of all time, one of, in my opinion.
In the penthouse. In the penthouse of heels. In the penthouse.
Yeah, he definitely knew how to control that crowd and make people hate him, and that intrigued me even at 8 years old.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, and then, you know, of course, you know, my other favorites would have been Macho Man, Randy Savage. He's on my Mount Rushmore. Ric Flair, obviously. Terry Funk. God, if I could have more than four on that Mount Rushmore, I would. But those would probably be my top four right there.
Jeff, tell the audience, and this is not the easiest question, but I'm going to give it a shot. What differentiates your promotion from other indie promotions, and have you had a good reception from other promotions regarding your company?
Wow, I can tell you, I have heard some good things from other promotion owners that I know, but the reception from the fans themselves was probably the most humbling. I think my favorite comment was, "This took me back to when I was a kid." Mm-hmm. Sitting at this show, the feeling that this show gave me took me back to when I was a kid. And that's when, I almost shed a tear myself on that one, like, because that was exactly the mark that we set out and aimed for. Like all the independent companies in this state really just want to put over whatever the 3 letters or 4 letters that make up their company name is. Mm-hmm. They don't try to get their talent over. Mm-hmm. So that's more my focus. I know that if I can get my talent known by the rest of the world, then my company will follow that. I don't have to try to put myself over. That's why you haven't seen me in any of the video. I've stayed completely backstage, and that's the way I'm going to continue to do it.
Jeff, I got to tell you, by talking to you, I really believe that CWF is in great hands, because what I'm hearing is true love for pro wrestling. And if someone truly loves pro wrestling and is running a company, that's good news for its fans. So great job, man. Great job.
Brother, I worked for that roofing company for 15 years. And when I fell off that house, they forgot my name. They literally didn't send me a get well card, not a telegram in the mail, not a fuck you, not a nothing. And when I woke up, my biggest fan was at the end of my bed. His name is Scott King. I'll never forget this man. And I'll make sure if I'm running a show, he'll never be charged for a ticket ever. And my biggest fan ever at the end of my bed when I woke up was the most amazing feeling. It let me know that all the bumps, all the bruises, all the injuries I endured, all the ridicule for wanting to be a professional wrestler, it all paid for itself in that moment.
Amazing.
Was the roofing company's name Marathi Roofing?
Oh, they suck.
No.
Jeff, where can the
fans on your show either?
Where can the fans find your organization? Where can they buy tickets? How often do the shows run?
CWFReloaded.com. All of our info is uploaded daily there. I have a great tech team. Her name is actually Kelly McKay. She's been on the radio around here for years. She's quite well known, and she's very good at her job. And she's a godsend, man. I don't know enough about the computers and building websites and all that stuff. I'm a big dumb meathead. I lift up heavy things and get body slammed. That's my life, Hit a couple of buttons, and if it don't work, you better call someone,
And tuck your chin. Tuck your chin. Don't forget to tuck your chin.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, I'll tell you, Jeff, we're rooting for your organization. I guarantee me and the Pharaoh will be down there in Florida to join and support you. We're really looking forward to the growth of your organization, and we want to thank you for joining Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, sir.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you more than I can even put into words. And if you would do me just one small favor,
absolutely.
After we go off air, if you can email me an address, I'll make sure you get some limited edition CWF memorabilia.
Oh, nice.
So you can keep it for yourself, or you can raffle it off or give it away on your show, whatever you want to do. I just want to make sure that we'll get some of this.
And we'll do the same, and we will give you Monte The Pharaoh merchandise. It's a good exchange. We'll do well. That'd be great.
Thank you.
We look forward to meeting you in person, though. We will be in Florida shortly, without a doubt.
My man Andrew Anderson, I think he's in the process of trying to get a convention put together for CWF guys in New York.
Okay.
And if that all goes through, then I'll be trying to enlist a bunch of the guys that we talked about to come up with me.
Nice.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Nice.
All right, man. Have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir. You guys have a great night.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, we'll
Best
be
of
back
luck with
after this
everything.
commercial break. In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherailscoffeeroasters.com.
Do you treat your dog as part of the family? Well, so do we. So why not celebrate your pup's birthday with the ultimate party box? Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Party Pup Info, and let us make your pup's party or any celebration perfection.
And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. This is Monte and the Pharaoh. How'd you like that interview, Jimmy?
Loved it. Great guy. I really am excited about that company's future because he really cares. Awesome.
I got to agree. We were talking during the
Yeah.
commercial break, and I mean that you could tell the passion. And got to tell you, man, I was trying to think, is that the same logo? Because that logo they're using right here is a hot
Right.
logo. I can't imagine it's a brand new logo, right?
It looks very much like the old one, but I would have to really look at it to see if there was some minor details changed, because he did mention certain things maybe or maybe not trademarked. I don't know if that's one of them with Vince or whatever, but yeah, that logo that he currently has kicks.
I love it. I love it. And here's the other thing too.
fantastic.
Call me. Maybe I'm crazy, but the pictures they have of their wrestlers.
Yep.
I don't know who their photographer is.
Excellent
Oh my
job.
god.
Dude, the shading. I mean,
Dude, it's awesome.
they
These
look
guys
fantastic.
look jacked, man.
I
Holy
cannot
cow.
tell you what, and sorry, folks, it's the truth. What a mark I always was for Championship Wrestling for Florida, and how much I am hoping that they just kick ass with this.
Do you think
I love
you-
this promotion.
do you think that
I want to see more of
that
this?
photographer could take good pictures of Big Fat Whale?
No, because you need
Wig?
a wide-angle lens that you can only get imported from Korea, and right now they're having a shortage on glass.
I got you. And how about the wig? Can you focus and make the wig look good?
Well, the wig can only be killed by a very large shotgun. I don't know. Last I heard, it was running down the New Jersey Turnpike.
I'm rooting for a wig on a pole match. Anyway,
Excellent. How about a pudgy on the
upcoming events.
a pudgy on the pole?
Pudgy on a pole.
Oh shit! The pole's falling.
We have our regular
That's
show
over.
on Thursday. It's me and Jimmy Pharaoh having a little fun, and
Just.
we're going to thank you guys for joining us. And then we have a special
Absolutely.
show on Saturday from 8 to 10 p.m. where we have ECW star
Well.
Joel Gertner in studio.
Yeah, love Joel. This is going to be
And
great.
MTV star, oh my God,
I can't.
Marissa Jade.
Oh, I'm melting. Next. Wow. I chihuahua.
Oh my God. Don't freak her out though.
No.
Get away from me.
I'll let you do that. Are you going to wear a suit?
I'm wearing a suit.
I'm not wearing a suit.
No, I'm wearing a suit for somebody else. August 5th,
okay.
it's a Thursday, our regular show. We have a tribute to New Jack where we have Super Crazy and Mustafa, and we're gonna just talk about New Jack and memories of New Jack. Maria Davis says out there, the wig.
It falls off.
Thoughts on Mustafa?
What?
Mustafa and Super Crazy.
Come on. Absolutely love it. You know how I felt about New Jack, and I'm looking forward to seeing Mustafa again. He was a great guy. He was great on our show previously, and of course, I am going to try to brush up on my Spanish. I will fail miserably, but I cannot wait for Super Crazy.
And this one,
I love Super Crazy.
one I would be
ECW.
wearing a suit for, and Phil just wrote after the
Super Crazy?
interview, no. You could sell the seats she's sitting in, and I
Yeah.
think, Matt, we'll sell the couch after this interview because I think we get a lot of people to buy it.
Because who sat on it?
Because we will have the first
Who?
lady of pro wrestling in Missy Hyatt.
Oh, my Lord. Amazing. Penthouse. Top shelf. Legend. Wow.
Oh my God! This is.
So you're wearing a suit for Missy Hyatt.
I am wearing a suit for Missy Hyatt.
You sly devil, you.
And then on September 17th, we'll be announcing some other things. It's going to be a full day of interviews, but one of the interview, which is be on Friday at 1 p.m. on September 17th.
Easy for you to say. Next.
We have
No.
WWE Hall of Famer and ECW legend
whole fucking show.
Rob Van Dam in studio. And the live interview will be exclusive just for members. We're doing this as a thank you.
Yes. Yes.
And to say thank you for supporting the channel. And
yeah.
we want you guys to be able to get your questions in. It's going to be a 90-minute interview, so you have plenty of times to ask questions to Rob Van Dam.
Amazing.
And, it's almost like a personal one-on-one with Rob Van Dam. So we're trying to do that for you guys and just tell you how much we really appreciate everything that you do for us.
For sure. For sure.
And following that, we have John Cena Sr.'s wig. We're trying to negotiate an agreement with that.
We're going to interview John Cena Sr.'s wig.
Yes.
That's great. That's great.
Anyway,
you know what, though? It'll be more exciting than the man himself.
There you go.
Wow. Because he is, folks, the most uninteresting guy in the world. This message was brought to you by NyQuil.
Good night. Here. Anyway, there's more shows to be announced. I will tell you that the names that will be on that day is Abdul the Butcher will be in house. And
I thought I talked to you about Abby.
did.
Oh, God. Abby's coming.
And Sabu will be in studio.
No way. Really?
Yes.
For
yes.
real?
Yes.
I love Sabu.
Sabu will be in
Oh,
studio.
my God.
It's not. It's official, but it's not official because the banner's not up yet.
My finger's coming.
Anyway, we'd like to thank
back
Jeffrey
up.
Weaver, the owner of CWF Pro Wrestling. What a great
Absolutely.
interview.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't know it, you are watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh. You can catch us on the Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page and Monte The Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor. Channel 115 every Tuesday in New York from 7 to 7:30. And for early risers, Channel 115, 6:30 to 7 a.m.
Pharaoh time.
By the way,
Pharaoh
remind
time.
me.
Six.
We just got.
time now.
I just got an email, a new contract for the cable show, so we're gonna have to re-sign
Okay.
the contract.
Awesome.
So please remind me.
Smooth as butter.
We don't have a manager, so we're trying. Channel 20, Friday, 1:30 to 2 a.m. Maybe I'll hire John Cena Sr.'s wig.
What about Pudgy the Whale? He can't talk.
No, he wants too much money.
It's pretty obvious.
He has to
can't
keep the
talk
wrestlers
anyway.
working. He has to keep. Listen, that's what he said. He goes, "You want me to manage you? I got to keep the wrestlers working. Pay me."
Yeah, that's great.
All right, Pharaoh. Any parting words?
Let's see. Well, we've learned a few things that John Cena Sr.'s wig is in demand, but not John Cena Sr. That's one thing we learned.
Yes.
We've also learned that CWF absolutely kicks ass, and I cannot wait to see where it goes from here.
I agree.
So once again, it's awesome to see a page from yesterday becoming today.
By the way, Phil says the interview with John Cena Sr.'s wig is going to be called, hold on, Phil, Getting the Scoop with the Toop.
That's fantastic! I can't bear talking to the hair. You've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh, and until next time, later.
And keep your hair on.